simmer down, calm it down, bring yourselves down. Welcome to the 5th episode of the Milo Podcast. Bing bong, bing bong, bing bong, bing bong. And today, I think it's a good day to take a trip down memory lane. You know, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go for a stroll, maybe a crawl. We might roll down the memory hill. We'll take a leap off of memory cliff and we're going to fall into the memory abyss. And we're going to think about all the things and remember the stuff that we used to do and we used to say and the stuff that we used to think and the stuff that we used to eat and everything that we used to play with and listen to. And we're going to remember and we're going to forget some things, but we're going to try to cover it all right here, right now on the Milo Podcast, episode number 5. Let's get hyped, ladies and gentlemen. So, first off the bat, I remember when we used to do things, but we don't do them anymore, and things used to be different back in the day, you know what I mean? But now they've changed. Things are always constantly changing. For the better, I don't know. That remains to be seen, right? It's time. Only time will tell. Things are always improving, progressing, and moving forward, but remember when they used to be different, things used to be regressing, and they used to go backwards, and the further back you go, the more backwards things are until it's all just back to front. Like you step into a mirror world where all you can see is reflections and like you don't even know if you're looking at yourself or if it's a clone or if you've stepped into a parallel dimension and like there's a million different versions of you that all exist all across like the parallel, whatever, the multiverse, just like that Jet Li movie, you know what I mean? You've got to go and hunt yourself down in all the different universes, and each time you kill one of your like iterations, you gain their powers and you become stronger until you basically dominate the entire multiverse and you become like I guess like some kind of living god. And at that stage, I suppose you could probably create your own universe to exist in. You could probably do your own stuff, like your own laws of physics, recreate the simulation, and make it so this time that the rabbits are the dominant. The rabbits are the dominant species, and they're the ones that are like trying to get into outer space and trying to pollute the earth, and like they're trying to get back to their home planet, and you just want to like set up this scenario where they can discover the right resources to invent the correct technologies to get off of Earth and go back to the rabbit planet, you know what I mean? Or you could do it with any other kind of animal. Could be a giraffe, could be a monkey, elephants. Imagine if it was like some kind of higher intelligence version of an elephant or an octopus. They say octopuses are pretty smart. They can like solve mazes and they solve problems. Maybe we should elect an octopus to be a planner. I was thinking of shooting them straight to the top to begin with. Let's see what it's like if an octopus was the president of the world. But we could maybe do a trial run, see if we could appoint an octopus to be like a city planner. Or maybe like see if appoint an octopus to be an engineer and see what they can come up with, like to solve some kind of crazy ass problems with their 8 tentacles that we've never thought of before, you know what I mean? Because they do say, I'm pretty sure I read this once, that octopus tentacles are all like different brains or something. Like they just basically like pretty much they got 8 brains. Maybe they got a 9th brain inside of their actual like abdomen, head sort of body area or whatever, you know what I mean? I don't know how many brains an octopus has. We can probably ask Jamie to pull that up. How many brains does an octopus have? How many brains does an octopus have? So it turns out, according to Google, they do have 9 brains. Dude, I'm the genius, man. I'm like the smartest man in the world. They have 9 brains. This is what it says. Octopus have 9 brains. One central brain is used for overall control. At the base of each arm is a group of nerve cells which can control each arm independently, acting as smaller brains. So they're basically the smartest creatures in the universe already that we've discovered. So maybe I wonder if there's similar scenario for starfish as well. Maybe they've got 6 brains, like one in each of their points, and then one inside of the actual starfish, if you know what I mean, But you know animals that don't have any brains at all? Whales. They're basically the dumbest creatures on Earth, man. Just swimming around the ocean with their mouths open, just letting any old thing swim right into it, and they just gobble it down no matter what. Stupid creatures, man. Murder them all, I say. We should join Japan and drive all of the whales out of the ocean and chop them up into bits and then eat them. You know what I mean? Maybe we should export the whale meat to Ethiopia or some other malnourished nation or some kind of nation that's in a time of crisis like the Ukraine. Just send a bunch of whale meat over there and we can just wail on them. You know what I mean? Maybe whale meat is actually the secret to stopping all of the wars and creating world peace, or at least like a world piece of whale meat, like a very large piece of meat that is the size of the world. And we could blast that off into space, and any time that we needed more food, we could send some, like a little spaceship up there, like a SpaceX, get Elon Musk to send some kind of robot spaceship that goes and like cuts off a big slab of it and brings it back down. And think about this, it'd probably get like cooked to perfection in the process. Like you just robot bringing a piece of giant meat the size of like the moon or whatever, like a meteor or asteroid type thing, bringing it through the atmosphere and then it just burning up, you know what I mean? Just burning, catching on fire, getting a nice sear. And because it's so large, it'd probably still be pink in the middle, like just an absolutely perfect rare steak that we could bring down, slice it up, and probably like distribute around the different continents. Like you get a slice, one for Europe, one for Africa, one for Australia, you know what I mean? But then we might have to get some big vegetables as well, and I think that's something that we can look into, is like getting some big cauliflower, some huge broccoli, you know, the size of trees, or like larger, even like the size of the biggest thing that you've ever seen, probably like 50 planets put together, or like 100 universes, the size of 20,000 million universes or multiverses. That's how big the broccoli is going to be, or maybe a giant pumpkin, a huge massive apple, like, or a huge massive coconut full of cream buns, and we roll that down the hill and it smashes open and everyone can just eat out of it. Like they're trying to eat the brains out of the skulls, like they're zombie sort of people trying to pick up the brain full of maggots, the skull full of maggots, and chew on it. That's what the coconut's like when it breaks open and all of the treats burst out. It's like a piñata that you smack it with a stick and see how far you can crack it. See how far you can crack that jacket, put it on before you leave out in the winter because it's quite cold. There might be a bit of snow, you know, icicles falling on your head. You don't want an icicle to pierce your brain. Got to wear a helmet, ice helmet, to stop the ice attacks or the from winter. You know what I mean? But another thing that I remember is the recipe for like a really good spaghetti. You got to get some pasta noodles, you throw it in the bowl, like in a saucepan, I guess, with water, a pinch of salt, and then you get some onions, you slice up the onions and you mix it with a bunch of cheese, and then you got these cheesy onions, and then you got to roll that up into a bowl and let it fall off of the table and roll behind the counter. And once it's there for like 10 years, it turns into like this kind of living sentient creature, and it will crawl away. That's when you've got to set it free, because it's got its own mind, it's got its own life and its own goals. It's like a little baby human that's come into the real world and self-realized, self-actualization. It's on a mission, you know what I mean? You've got to let it just go out and hope that one day it will return. And most of the time they do, and they've changed. There's a lot of changes that they go through. It's a huge procedure. You know, it's like coming out of a cocoon. But when they return, it's always worth it. It's very rewarding. You can see the fruits of your labor. It's like raising a child. In fact, there's no different to raising a child or raising an elephant, raising a monkey, raising a giraffe, or like raising the stakes. You could raise the level, you can raise the bet, can raise the platform. You can get a raise in your income if you get promoted. And there's rays from the sun, there's sunbeams, and there's ultraviolet light that will cook you to a crisp until unless you put on some sunscreen. And there's also like manta rays and stingrays, and there's like a guy called Ray down the street, and he's really cool, and he likes to do different things. He's living his own life. Sometimes you see him out there on the ride on lawnmower. You just give him a bit of a wave, say "G'day, Ray." Sometimes he's down there on the in the garden, ripping up the garden bed, pulling out the weeds, looking for the witchetty grubs, and scaling the ceiling, or looking like some kind of weird cross between a human and a spider monkey or something, just flying around with a big yellow cape. But he's never saved anyone. He's not that type of guy. You know, it's sort of like when David Attenborough is watching a lion take down a majestic gazelle or some shit like that. And they don't intervene. Will raise the same, like if he sees some kind of shit going down, some kind of I guess a crime in action, or some kind of natural disaster scenario, he'd rather just let it play out, man. You can't divert the course of history. You can't be savior of the earth all the time. You can only do so much, you know what I'm saying? And once you do one thing, that's when they always expect it once again, over and over. Oh, my cat's stuck in a tree. Oh, my pancreas is about to explode. Or, oh my God, I just fell down the stairs. You know, like, you can't just be everywhere all at once. These are the kind of things that are going on all the fucking time, man. I would not want to be a superhero because you got your work cut out for you, dude. Flying from here, flying to there, just flying everywhere, you know what I mean? You're not even like signed up with, it's not even like you get like frequent flyer miles or anything like that. You're not in an airplane, or you're not associated with any type of jet network or whatever, or jet work or stuff like that. So, you know, it's all off of your own back, and time is money, man. When you're flying from here, trying to save people and do these types of things, you know, when do you find time for yourself? I remember reading some type of allegory, I guess you'd call it, or something like that, where, you know, if a boy is drowning in a puddle, and then the man helps the boy out the puddle, but then he looks down and he notices that there's another boy drowning in another puddle, and in fact there's like an infinite number of boys drowning in different puddles all the way down the way. Like, you know, how many boys can you save before you got to like just let one drown so you can stand behind a tree and like have a leak or scratch your ass or whatever, you know what I mean? Everyone needs time for themselves, self-care, self-motivation, self-inspiration, self-constipation, and it's all about, you know, it's all about the century of the self right now. That's what people are calling it, because people are just so self-absorbed, so self-obsessed. You know what I mean? People are maybe just a little bit too narcissistic these days. You see them TikTokers getting around, flashing cameras in people's faces and like dancing on the subway, or just like, you know, doing all kinds of degenerate things, or walking around trying to kill people and put it on camera just so they can get 1 million likes and 1 million views. And they don't even give a shit because they're the ones making all the money. They're making so much money and they're getting all the validation with the likes and the notifications, and it just doesn't stop being devastation for the rest of the nation. And I'm sick of inflation because the prices are too high. They're paying these TikTokers, but I don't know why. I'm just gonna fly up into the sky like a dude down the road with the cape on his eye. You know what I mean? But I've never been much of a superhero guy. I'm not really into the superheroes. I'm more into super villains, because they're the ones that are always like thinking forward. Like, think about their motivation. They always want to change the planet. They want to, you know, they're tired of the government, or they hate minorities, or, you know, they might just like want to cause some kind of chaos and see how the world reacts. You know, they're the real revolutionaries. They're the ones that just, they want to see how things pan out. They want to see some change. You know, they're tired of the current regime. And it's superheroes. What do? They're just flying around like, oh yeah, what a beautiful day. Here's the sun, here's the rain, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? They don't give a fuck about anything. And villains are the ones that are like always developing the technologies that end the world, or technologies that will do some crazy ass shit, you know? And then when the aliens come, they're the kinds of people that we're going to need to rely on, because the superhero is going to be tied up trying to run around, play super ambulance people or super paramedics like they are, trying to save people from having heart attacks, or like stop a burning building or a bus from falling off of a cliff or something like that. They don't have time to fight against the aliens, but, you know, these villains, they want to control the planet. So they're the ones who are going to protect the planet so that they can further their control, you know what I mean? Maybe they'll steer away the aliens with their planet-destroying device, because like they threaten the aliens. And when they come here, they're like, oh, well, guess what? We got this planet-destroying device and we've teleported it to your homeworld, so unless you get the fuck out of here, you know, it's kaboom for you. You know, it can't be easy getting to Earth as well, you know what I mean? You got to travel across like 100 million billion expanses of light years across the universe or whatever, and just hope that you bump into some kind of like planet with half intelligent people on it or whatever, so you can stop and say hi, maybe, you know, catch a nap and a coffee or whatever, stop, revive, survive type of thing. They might not even be, you know, this might not be their final destination. They might be moving on to some other far away planet, and, you know, we just need to offer them a little bit of respite. Maybe make them a sandwich and, you know, warm meal or whatever, you know, give them a place to stay, a pillow for their heads, you know, a bed for them to lay on, you know what I mean? And then they'll be on their way. Because think about it, one day we're going to have to leave the planet. And what if we bump into their planet? You know, one good turn deserves another, right? These are the kinds of things that we need to be thinking about. You know, like the former president Donald Trump was building a space force, but what kind of message does that send to the people that want to come here, man? He wanted to build a wall around America, and he wants to build a wall around the planet. But I'm saying we need to let more UAPs and more unidentified species of life forms or whatever, extraterrestrials, like come. We got to open up the border of the planet. We got to open up the atmosphere, put a big hole in the ozone, and let them come through it. You know what I mean? So they don't get all burnt up in the process. But right about now, we've got about 50 pounds of bananas and a quarter of a ton of coconut apples. So we're going to mix them up and turn it into some kind of like a porridge or a cake batter. Maybe bake it, take it down to the local store and distribute it to the children who are malnourished and hungry. You know what I mean? The children that might be victims of domestic violence. They come from broken families. They come home from school every day, or they might not even have school. But like, you know, they just see their dad punching the lights out of their mum all the time, or like kicking the dog whenever the dog like vomits on the carpet or whatever. They just like kick the dog in the guts until it shits blood or something like that. And that's just not very good environment for people to live in, especially children, because children, they don't have any money or car of their own. They just basically have to stay in their room and listen to the cries of their mother or something like that. And it's just, it's not very motivating. These people aren't going to grow up to, land good jobs, or they're probably going to be like sexually promiscuous when they're teenage years and get into all kinds of nefarious situations with predators and manipulators. So, you know, these are the kinds of things that really affect our society, and I think that's why we need to eradicate like the laws that make it illegal, because that's where the cognitive dissonance is coming from. You know what I mean? These people just want to beat down on their wives, and like the kids are just like, oh, I don't know if that's okay. It's breaking the law. But you know, if there was no law in the first place, then where's your moral compass then? It's just, you know, you're a law-abiding citizen. And these kind of conflicting laws are found all over the place. Like we've got speed limits, we've got anti-pollution laws. You can't murder, you can't steal. And in a free society, I think that this is the kind of thing that we should be talking about. Like these are the kinds of problems that we need to face head on and decide if this is the way that we really want to live. Like, is society too safe? Is it, I think it's taking a toll on society's mental health. We need to get to the root of the cause. We need to get down to the brass tacks. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's about time that society changed, I think. We've been going in this direction for too long. We need to turn it around, make it upside down, reflip it, and turn it into some type of corkscrew or infinity sign that lasts forever. And then we can plug it in and put it up at the front, and we can use the illumination from its glow to see what we're actually doing and where we want to go. We really need to glow up right now. We've glowed down too far. We've gone so far down to Chinatown that I don't think anyone's around to pound anymore. And there's just we're running out of money, we're running out of resources. There's not enough cars for people to drive, and there's not enough streets for people to drive on. I don't think that we have the power and the supply to facilitate such a large population. So the fact that we even have all these different infrastructures and settings in place to stop people falling through the cracks is really a disservice to the greater society, you know what I mean? The greater population. We need to let people just perish. We just need to let people perish and suffer and die. You know what I mean? Because maybe death is not the end in the first place. There's plenty of people that believe in reincarnation, and a lot of people that believe that they were something else in a past life. So maybe you'll come back as some kind of important alien on another planet or something. Or if you wanted to come back to Earth, you might be a fly, so you can fly around, or a bird. Or you might come back as any other type of animal, like an ant or a cat or a dog. Or maybe you come back as a plant. Can you come back as a different type of life form? Maybe one without consciousness. Maybe you come back as a germ or a virus. Or maybe you come back as a shrub. Or maybe you come back as any of these types. Some marine life. You might come back as a shark. Or you come back as a mollusk or an oyster. You might come back as a hermit crab. Or, that'd be pretty cool. Then you'd never be homeless. You could just, crawl from shell to shell, and you'd be living well in the swell of the ocean where the waves are rolling. The waves are rolling. I feel the ocean. I feel the ocean. You ever listen to a shell? You put it to your ear and you can hear the ocean inside. How do they do that? Do you think they've got Bluetooth, or they're on Blue Wave? I don't really like to go to the beach though. It's too sandy, too wet, too windy, too much blue sky, too much white cloud, too much sunshine, and really I'd rather just go into a cave and shrivel up and die. I'd rather go into a cold, dry, rough, abrasive wall cave and just crawl into an enclosed space and that I can't back out of and just die, suffocate slowly, because with each breath that I take, my lungs are getting crushed smaller and smaller, and so I just slowly pass out in waves of fear and claustrophobia until my adrenaline takes over my brain and my heart, and it explodes, and then my soul just is stuck there forever, haunting the cave. That's why I don't want to go to the beach. Maybe after like a million years of constant pressure, I'll turn into like some kind of precious stone or a diamond or a sapphire or a gem or some other type of human crystal type thing, and I could channel my energy to all of the psychic mediums around Earth, and then they might come and find me and find that there's like this human crystal hybrid person thing, and they could mine that for resources and use that as some kind of infinite power source or unobtainium that would otherwise fuel these major projects which are going to save society from our certain doom that we're currently trekking towards, you know what I mean? And we're only getting faster and faster. We're barreling towards, like rolling downhill. We're like trolling down the hill. We're strolling down the hill, you know what I mean? And we're just gaining speed. We've got no brakes. We don't know how to turn around. We don't even have a handbrake. And anything in our path, we just run straight into, destroy, and eventually we're going to go straight off the cliff, over the edge. You know, we've jumped the shark. But the question is it too far to turn back? Have we gone beyond the point of no return? I mean, these are the kinds of questions that science is going to get to the answer of one day. But until then, all we can do is speculate, you know what I mean? Maybe do some surveys, get some people to fill out some questionnaires, see how people feel about the matter. But we're going to take a break from the heavy topics, and we're going to listen to a song. One of our listeners, regular listener, he called up and he said, "Hey, I want you to play this song on the radio live on air." And I was like, okay, so now we're going to play that song right now.
Passing through the fractal, structure seems so fragile. Maneuvers are so agile as I'm shooting hoovers at you. Rivers like a rainbow dipping out your skin like acid. Razor light reflecting and refracting back so rapid. Freeze the frame and trap it, seize the moment, photograph it. Linoleum hills have eyes, they can see deep inside. All the questions you've been asking why has been defined. Sliding through the slime like protozoa enzymes. I might talk in tongues, I might pull the rug. I'ma show you how I really don't give a fuck. Whoa, yeah. Hey, Spaceboy 3, man, it's Young Milo, bro, you feel me? We doing this shit, bro, we in the game, nigga, you feel me? Geometric prisms, look at the life you're living. You got a lot of shit that you can't take along with you. Your favorite rapper's hard and he keeps these circles small. I really don't got shit, man, I'm screaming fuck them all. Feeling 10 feet tall, I might be bulletproof. AK-47 and it's dumping off the roof. If you wanna know the truth, I'ma serve you all a scoop. If it ain't holler back, then I ain't listening to you. Lifestyle music, what we're doing, fuck the money. Holler back, world, bitch, it's time to acknowledge. If you wanna know the truth, I'ma serve you all a scoop. If it ain't holler back, then I ain't listening to you. Lifestyle music, what we're doing, fuck the money. Holler back, world, bitch, it's time to acknowledge.
Welcome to the Milo Experience.
All right, now it's time for everyone's favorite regular coveted segment, the Brodie Report.
The Brodie Report.
In recent news, Brodie's life was turned upside down when he received a call that would change his life forever. No, his parents weren't dying. No, his house wasn't blown away in some kind of hurricane. But he was physically challenged. And you know what he did? He went out, he went into the city, he murdered every alpha male that he could find. Just absolute brutal, painful suffering for anyone that was out there with a skinhead or any type of muscles or, you know, in high vis. Bro just took them down one by one. And sometimes it wasn't even one by one. There were gangs of them. Sometimes Brodie was like, "I'll take on all of you." And he just did super pile driver stuff and like crazy ass jumping off the turnbuckle moves like senton splash or some kind of bomb fucking power bomb pile driver stuff until there were no more males left in Broken Hill. Then Brodie had all the bitches to himself, and you know what? He was the king. Or at least for a day, because it wasn't long until people from out of town found out that there was only one man there, and they started to crawl in from all over, and they were looking for Brodie's bitches, trying to fuck all of Brodie's girls, all Brodie's hoes, you know what I mean? But you can't mess with Brodie's bitches, because Brodie's the biggest man in the world, and he's extremely violent and dangerous. He doesn't even have to be armed, because he's got 2 arms on him, and they're bigger than the sun. So if you want to try to crawl into Broken Hill and fuck Brodie's missus, I got another story to tell you, mate. Something else is going to go down, and you're going to go down with it in a fucking grave, you know what I mean? All right, we're gonna check on the traffic report and see how things are from our chopper in the sky, our eye in the sky. How's it going over there? What do you see?
Yeah. So we see the bridge is collapsed and there's a lot of cars driving around and you can't drive anywhere because everyone's on fire. And there's a bus and there's so many trucks and they're all driving and I can't see because of the smoke and pollution that all the motorcycles are putting out. And there's a toy car that's riding down William Street and there's an oil spill on Argent Street. Oh, and down on the Hume Highway there's about 50 elephants. And on Anzac Parade there's like 100 cows and there's 50 sheep that are going to the lake, so you can't go to the lake. And you can't go to Adelaide because the road to Adelaide's been destroyed by atomic bombs. And there's about 50 buses and 20,000 sedans. And there's about 100 forklifts and they're all driving around in circles downtown. Over.
Thank you for that. And we're going to check on the weather now and see what's in store for your weekend and for the rest of your week. Okay, so Monday looks like it's going to be sunny. Very, very sunny and 100 degrees. And Tuesday, it's very, very sunny and it's 200 degrees. And then on Wednesday, it's very sunny and there's 300 degrees. And then on Thursday, it's going to be sunny and there's going to be 400 degrees. And then on Friday, it's even sunnier and it's going to be 600 degrees. And then on Saturday, it'll be 800 degrees. And then on Sunday, it'll be 1 million degrees. And it's going to be raining. And then there's going to be asteroids coming from outer space, and then there's going to be a tidal wave, and there's going to be an earthquake, and then all the volcanoes will erupt, and then it's going to be, on the following day, it'll be nice and cool. So don't forget your umbrellas. You're going to have to bring out the X-ray specs and slip, slop, slap, and put on a hat, and make sure you wear your rain cap, okay? All right, so that brings episode 5 to a conclusion. The Milo Podcast is at an end for this week. Now I'd just like to take time to thank my sponsors. Today's episode was brought to you by McDonald's. Go to McDonald's for food. If you want a burger, you go to McDonald's and you eat the burger. If you want the fries, then go to McDonald's. And if you want a thick shake, go to McDonald's. And if you want coffee, go to the McCafe. And if you want to eat some kind of chicken nuggets or something like that, then go to McDonald's and see if they've got it in stock and ask them what the price is. And then make sure you bring your money and then you give them the money and then they give you the food. And today's episode was also brought to you by Hungry Jack's. So if you want to eat some burgers or if you want to eat some kind of fries, then go to Hungry Jack's and ask them what they sell. And if they sell the fries, if that's what they say that they are making in the kitchen, then you can spend your money on that stuff and they'll give it to you to eat. All right, that about wraps things up for today's episode of the Milo Podcast. Bing bong, bing bong, bing bong. Thank you for listening to episode 5, and I will see you on the next episode.